Hello, my name is Pusnam Yuri. I teach leaders the secrets of personal development. In this video, I want to talk to you about the kind of personal development that the church needs or will soon happen in the church. But before I proceed, I request that you subscribe to this channel so that you will be one of the first to receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Uh, what kind of personal development do we need in the church? I am a theologian. I am from a mainline denomination, and my theological background in my degree and MTH are all from mainline theological seminary and college. So, what I'm about to say is very important, and you have to pay attention. When you look at different church denominations, you may easily observe that there are false teachers. False teachers are becoming popular, and then if you are not careful, you will be deceived. As a theologian, I have studied different theologies. I have studied Western theology, liberal theology, black theology, evangelical theology, prosperity theology, Roman Catholic theology, African theology, feminine theology. There are so many theologies out there. So you, who is one of the followers of the many pastors out there, you may not really understand the background from which your pastor is operating. So when I had the opportunity to write my MTH thesis, I focus on Pentecostal theology. Even though I am from a mainline background, but Pentecostal theology got my attention for different reasons. I will not have the time to to tell you all the reasons here. I have been having a wonderful relationship with Pentecostal pastors. Many of them are our students in our professional book writing and even personal development. Some time ago, I had the opportunity of serving part time in a theological school as a lecturer. It's a Pentecostal theological school. I serve part time as a lecturer. So I also have some Pentecostal pastors as my students. This is the thesis. Here I focus on Pentecostal theology, a challenge to LCCN, Lutheran Church of Christ in Nigeria. I did not look at this negatively. I only try to understand the background of Pentecostal theology so that I can know how to benefit and at the same time add value. So I also have an understanding of the background of the mainline denomination since I grew up in it. So I know the difference. But something huge is about to happen. And this huge thing will disrupt so many ministries, will disrupt so many pastors. This is what I have noticed. In the mainline background, there are pastors who are rigid. They have theology, yes, but they are rigid because they don't have social exposure. Some of them only have degrees in theological background, but they have never been to the university, polytechnic. So they have solid theology. They are highly educated in traditional theology, but they don't have the social exposure from the university, social interaction. So when you are interacting with many of them, some of them are really rigid, they are not flexible. It will only take me 3 to 5 minutes to understand a theologian who does not have social background, who has not attended a secular, what they call secular, a secular institution. That is their weakness, their weak point. They are strong in theological content, but many of them, some of them don't have social exposure. and they are rigid, they are hard because of lack of social exposure. When you come into the Pentecostal context, you will meet so many Pentecostal pastors, so many Pentecostal leaders who have exposure. They have, they are charismatic. Many of them are wealthy, and they have this social network, and they are flexible because many of them have been educated. They pass through the universities or the polytechnics, what people call secular education. So look at these two people. One has mainline theological content, which is traditional, which is very strong, but he lacks social exposure. The other one has social exposure, has charisma, but he lacks the traditional theological background, theological content. So the future pastors, the future apostles, or whatever title you want to use, will be what I call, for lack of a better term, I call them, I name them evangelical Pentecostal pastors. Evangelical Pentecostal pastors. Why did I name them so? This is what is happening right now. Some of the Pentecostal pastors who don't have the traditional theological background are now coming back. They are now getting involved. They are now students in the mainline, some of the mainline theological schools. What that means is they are now getting what they don't have. Some young pastors from the mainline denomination are now, some of them are graduate from universities. Some of them, even without the background from the university, they have social exposure because of the information age. So the pastors of the future will be people who have exposure, and at the same time they are balanced in traditional theology. So any pastor, whether you are from the mainline or the Pentecostal, from the mainline, if you have theology without exposure, without social connectivity, and then from the Pentecostal, if you have social exposure, social connectivity, but you don't have mainline theological education, this new set of pastors who have both, who have the two, will take over ministry. They will suppress you. They will disrupt your current ministry. So the future pastors will be balanced in traditional theological training, and at the same time, they will have social exposure because they will have theology and educational background from the schools many people call secular. So I would love to conclude with these three things. Number one, if you are on the path of false teachers, you better change your ways because God is about to purify church organizations because there is time for everything. God has given you several years as a false teacher to change your ways and to become good. But your time will soon be over. And then number two is this: the people who are listening to you, your members, now they are more exposed than you think. I'm telling you, they are more exposed. When you started ministry, maybe there was no social media. Maybe you started before the information age. But now I'm telling you, you cannot deceive them the way you used to deceive them. Whatever you say now, they have a way of verifying. I'm telling you, some of them may be listening to your sermon. Yes, they may be present physically in the church, but they are listening to other pastors right before you when you are preaching. They are listening to other pastors that are making sense. So even sinners now are becoming wiser, are becoming knowledgeable. So you cannot easily deceive people now because people have various ways of confirming what you're saying. And then number three, this new set of pastors that are rising, I know a few of them. I can tell you I know a few of them. Recently, one of them even left the ministry because he was not comfortable there, to start his own. But what I'm saying to you that this new set of pastors that will soon arise will be balanced. And when they arise, any pastor from any minister, whether you are an evangelist or teacher, from the mainline, background, who has theology but no exposure, no flexibility in approach, no modernization, in his methodology, may face out. And any pastor from the other side who has exposure, social structure, social involvement, modernization, without the traditional theological background, will also be disrupted. The earlier, the better. Let's come back to real theology. Let's come back to the real biblical truth. Let's stop deceiving people and make ministry, excellent for the glory of God. My name is Pusnamiri.